let's move on the things that you cannot understand and things at first you couldn't understand, but now you understand. Let's
Okay.
talk about. So would you tell me the things you cannot understand what the Korean do?
Sure. So, as I mentioned earlier, I bought a car recently,
Yeah.
and I've been driving regularly 3 months in Busan,
Yeah.
and I think I'm adjusting well. There have been no close calls. There have been no accidents. I mentioned I enjoy driving.
Yeah.
I like listening to music and driving, but however, even after so many years, I still don't understand the driving system or driving culture
really?
in Korea.
Like what
Or
kind
in Busan, sorry. I don't want to stereotype or compare with other cities in Korea. I'm only going from my own personal experience in Busan,
Yeah.
especially now that I'm driving. But and I understand that people are in a rush, and Korea is a very dynamic and busy place. There's an expression that I learned long ago, like "bali bali," like "hurry hurry." Time is money.
The funny thing is the catchphrase of Busan is dynamic Busan.
Yeah, and I understand that people are in a rush. They feel hurried. A lot of people might feel stressed. I mean, my mother always tells me, Mark, calm down. And Mark, have some patience.
Do you think the Busan people's the hurriness looks like urgent is you cannot understand it till now? There's no room for
I respect the excitement of it. So diligent that they're hurried and they're working hard.
Yeah.
I respect that. I feel I'm that kind of person. But driving wise, I think when you put a person who works very hard and is hurried and a little bit stressed,
Yeah.
and they drive with those kinds of feelings, I think it can be quite dangerous. And
So driving is a different matter.
yes, absolutely. I think just people should.
Have more patience or more room for relax.
Yes, I think what I'm trying to say is that I've adjusted to the driving situation over so many years.
Yeah.
I do not understand it. I don't mean any disrespect or anything. I think I need to calm down a lot of times in my life. But when you're driving, I think just people should try and relax a little bit.
Especially, I don't like the bad reputation, but the reality is true. The Busan drivers are so hot tempered, so it is good because after this video, maybe Busan people also think more about their driving habit. You think still the driver need more patience or need to calm down when they drive?
Yes, I do.
Oh, thank you for that. And let's move on to the next things. The things at first you cannot understand it, but now you realize the reason why the Korean people do that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, my first year when I came to Korea was in about late 2004 in Jeonju. I guess that was another cultural shock for me, was to see so many young kids, even like young elementary school age children,
Yeah.
still wearing their gym uniforms, or middle school students still wearing their school uniforms
Yeah.
at 9 or 10 p.m. outside, walking around, which showed me at the time that they were out studying, or maybe they had been home from school, but there was not a lot of time in between. I learned that Korean students were extremely busy. I mean, the first thing that came to my mind was like, why? Why are they always studying? Like, why don't they have any time to play or enjoy their life? I mean, my first reaction was I felt pity, not pity, but I felt kind of a little bit of a sad feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, I was also very grateful. I love teaching so much. It's one of the biggest reasons I'm still in Korea for so many years. I love teaching students. I love teaching English. So, I mean, I was in this country because of this educational culture. So, I mean, I couldn't be angry, but I just wondered, like, why? Growing up in Canada, my memories of my childhood revolved around like going to school, coming home. I had to do my homework. That was like my parents' rule. And I was involved in soccer leagues, hockey leagues. I could play with my friends outside. I mean, I still don't really see that here. I didn't see that ever. And I couldn't understand it.
Find the answer why the Korean students stay a long time or study a lot.
I didn't find any specific, I mean, if you mean, did I find the answer by asking people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. And I just kind of came to some sort of realization by myself. If we compare my country, Canada, with Korea, I mean, Canada has an enormous amount of natural resources, and Korea does not. And I mean, I've taught in many different kinds of schools and institutes over the years, and there's a huge amount of pressure for students to enter schools because education is so valuable and so important in Korea. And I mean, I learned that although I'm Canadian and you're Korean, and I'm teaching Korean students, I mean, my parents and my students' parents are completely the same, and that they have the same dreams and same goals for their children. I kind of understand now why the students are so busy. I mean, it's probably not always fun for them, but their parents push them because they have the same goals and same dreams that my parents had for me, that they wanted to become a doctor or a lawyer or a businessman or businesswoman. And in order to do that, the parents expect them to study very hard so they can go to a great school and try and obtain that job. I had no understanding of the educational culture in Korea when I first saw what was happening, but I think I kind of have a much better understanding now.
Yes, in Korean educational system, the teacher always said, after university, you are free. After university, you are free, you are free. So whatever you want, don't do that until you go to university. So that is the reason. And as you know, Korea grows rapidly. There's no process of democratic, something like that. So we always need to be hurried. And for the students, now it becomes change, but still the students mean study. But now we realize that study is not at all. Even if you're good at study, you could be suicide tomorrow, or if you are poor at study, but you can be successful. But now we become realized, but still the school is symbol of massive running. And yeah, as you said, when we compare to another country like Canada or America, we don't have any natural resources to do that. So only thing, we are focused on the person with the studying. So that is the reason we are extremely focused on education. But now it becomes change, how the learning like that. When I was teacher, I try not to push students to study a lot. Studying is not at all. But funny thing is that their parents want me to push students to study a lot. And let's move on to this one. Special advice for those who will travel or come to Korea. Is there any something special advice for?
If you're coming to work in Korea, I remember when I was first coming to Korea, I didn't know how many teachers, of course, were in Korea, but I imagine there were many. I mean, there were so many job advertisements for Korea, even in 2004, and there still are now. I remember when I arrived in the airport in Seoul, Incheon, my recruiter at the time who arranged the position for me picked me up from the airport, and we were sitting, I believe, in the airport waiting for a bus to take me to my first city in Jeonju. And I don't really even remember why I asked him. It was just more out of curiosity than anything, because one-year contract. And I just imagined at that time that it must be very difficult for some people to move so far away from home for the first time. A lot of teachers, I think I was in my early 20s, and a lot of people are when they come. It must be difficult. There's many obstacles you face. So I just asked my recruiter, do most teachers finish their one-year contract? I had no idea. That was not something I actually researched ahead of time. And I'll never forget his answer. It was very good advice, actually. He told me, Mark, there are two kinds of teachers in Korea. And I was like, who are they? What is it? And he said, there's a foreigner who's in Korea as a tourist, and there's a foreigner in Korea as an employee. And he said, the foreigner who works in Korea like a tourist often encounters many difficulties. And he said, the foreigner who works in Korea as an employee usually does quite well.
Yeah.
And I mean, he didn't fully answer my question, but at the same time, he completely did answer my question. I totally understood what he meant.
I also totally understand because I was the foreign teacher in Thailand. So if I'm thinking of as a traveler, the life sucks. It's not qualified as I'm thinking as a traveler. But I memorized I in here as working like a Canadian or American who want to travel to Korea. It is not good getting a job in Korea because life would be not always hotel and not everyone just focus on you. Similar as Canada, if you get a job, you need to follow the rules in the company.
Sure, absolutely. So I mean, my advice is whether you're a worker or a tourist, anywhere in the world really, but we are talking about Korea, is always do your best. I mean, I'm not perfect, but I make mistakes, but I've always done my best for my students in Canada or Korea or wherever. I think you always do your best and keep an open mind. I mean, you're not at home, so keep an open mind, try to experience new things and be respectful of Korean customs, I guess. Yeah, most of all, keep an open mind and do your best. And when you are working, remember that it is your job, just like it would be your job in Canada or USA or wherever you come from. I think if anybody follows what my recruiter told me, their experience will be that much better than if they don't.
Okay, thank you for the idea. And our last question is, you have been living in more than 50 years in Busan. So what is something special or what makes you living, because of your family in Busan, but is there, because I want to see as a foreigner, the Seoul is the capital, but you and your wife still live in Busan. So what is the special thing or what makes you living in more than 10 years in Busan?
Well, I've traveled a lot in Korea. My first year in Jeonju, I did try to have an open mind and I went to many places in Korea. I was not sure if I would come back to live in Korea or not. But for some reason, I had this stuck in my mind that if I ever came back to Korea for a second year to teach, only Busan. I'm really trying to think of an exact reason. I mean, the best thing I can tell you is, I guess, that Seoul is great, and I know that Seoul is the capital, and there's more than 10 million people living there, so there's many job opportunities and lots to do, and it's a lot of fun and many different foods. I've been to Seoul so many times. Seoul just, it never seemed to fit with me as a place to live. It's very crowded, it's really huge, and there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people like that, like New York City or LA or something. I just found Busan is not too big, not too small. There's many beautiful beaches here. I live right next to Gwangali Beach, and Haeundae Beach is very famous in Korea. Over so many years, I've kind of felt very proud that I'm living in Busan, and I kind of felt a part of Busan. I feel like Busan people are very strong and proud to be from there. I don't know if people from Seoul are like that or not. I've never lived there. I cannot say, but...
How about the sounds like Busan dialect? You can recognize the difference between Seoul's.
Yeah, as I know in Korean that's called saturi, I guess the accent or dialect.
Some people say Busan's accents are so aggressive when they hear. How about your opinion about it?
I think generally, especially the Korean men,
Busan men?
when they speak, when they're outside on a Friday or Saturday night, I mean, a lot of people say that when they're speaking, sometimes it even sounds like they're gonna fight or something, but it's just a huge misunderstanding. Just their character and their accent is just, it's very strong, and they express their emotions that way. I think Busan people are just kind of tough generally, in a good way, in a very good way.
Good way, but some people say Busan is bad reputation for gangster, so they say the city of gangster.
Oh, actually, I've never heard that. I mean, I've watched several Korean movies that were based off true stories, and many scenes took place in Busan, but that's the first time I've ever heard that.
Oh, first time,
that they had a bad reputation.
In my life, I never saw the gangster in the year, because I haven't living in Busan, but I never saw the gangster. But when I see the movies, Busan is symbolized as the gangster, a lot of gang. But I don't think so, but at least you feel Busan is not the city of gangster.
I've always felt safe and comfortable in Busan, as I have anywhere I've been in Korea. I've never felt in danger walking outside or anything like that, and I don't think anyone in my family has either. That's another thing I really appreciate about living in Korea is how comfortable I've always been and safe that that I've
To me,
felt.
the Busan life is just normal. There's nothing special for me, but in some aspect to you, it will be like you cannot understanding or something like driving system. I never thinking about if like so people say Busan people are bad driver. I ignore it, but like a foreigner say like that, it is time to think about our driving culture. So I really appreciate your foreign idea about my hometown.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Sure,
Thank you.
and let's think more about the Busan's feature. something
Sure,
like that.
sounds good.
So, thank you for your idea.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Sure.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
한담하네